Okay, I'm back for part 2 on the construction of the Precious Memories. So this was the construction of the pages. But as you know, I'm using the new Children's Hour. So I went ahead and got my sheets ready. And what I'm going to do is, since I'm going to just do each one, I decided to go with the 5 since I made the hinges for 5. So this will be January, February, and it'll go down the line like that. And the back cover of the book is going to be my December. And then this way, I'm actually using this for a Christmas gift for my mother. She'll be able to put her grandkids' pictures in, because every year I try to make her the calendar, and you know, last year I only got till May, and it was crazy when you're trying to do the calendar and getting all the days. So I went ahead and I cut my papers, my pattern papers. So I cut 1/8 of an inch off of each side. And I'm actually going to put this all the way down inside of my pocket. I don't always do that, but I've been having trouble with my pockets. You can't help it. You have that flap when you make it, and it is getting some tags for getting stuck. So I'm just going to take it all the way down. Don't worry about saving paper. I usually end up just throwing that small amount away anyway. So I thought this will be the best way. So I'm going to go ahead with my score tape, and I'm going to use the 1/4 of an inch when I'm doing my papers. And when I'm doing the score tape on my pockets, I actually only do 3 sides, because it's enough to hold it down. And if you try to get that 4th on the bottom, I find it very difficult to get it down in. And of course you can use a wet adhesive. So I'm just going to do my 3 sides. And get it in there and somewhat centered. See, and it's easier to get a hold of if you need to grab it really fast. Well, that's going to depend on your cardstock. With the Cartabella cardstock, it has a nice finish. So see, I'm able to have a little work time. And for some reason, see, this just wants to be stubborn. I really should start. I need to just go back to wrapping my pockets like I used to. Okay. Oh, I'm not getting it down there for some reason. Well, this isn't a very good example for you, but see, it's not going all the way down. Where am I catching? Must be catching. I am. It's on that side corner. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, exactly where it was catching now. There we go. My next video, I'll just go ahead and probably start going back to wrapping my pockets. But I love this Children's Hours paper. It has almost a touch of the G45 calendar line they did a couple of years ago. Actually, I have that, and I never can remember the name of it. It was just gorgeous. So I'm going to put this on the outside, and then I'm using the inside. So I ended up using some of the 8x8, because you can see the size difference in the pattern. The 8x8, the 6x6, and some of the 12x12. And the main reason is I didn't want to totally cut up my 12x12, because I want to be able to use some of the tags. And the ephemera that came with this line is a little different this time. There is no horizontal, they're all vertical. So it's going to be a little difficult to use the ephemera cards with this. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this down, but I am going to be having bling and lace put at the top. See, just to give you an idea. So they're all one way, so they did it quite different, and there was no small ones this time. So I'll be cutting from the 8x8, the little cut aparts. to go with our tag, and I'll be making some of them, so that's okay. It's nice to have different styles and different tags in your books. Now on this piece, because the blue, I'm not super crazy about the blue, and in this, I actually cut out, let's see, oh, I thought I'd already cut it. No, that's, let's see what I did with January's. There it is. Maybe that's where it is. That's not it, but I've lost it. I'm going to have to find it. Well, I have another piece to make a small pocket here. That is this design. And I will have to find it. Okay, I'll come back to that. Well, it will go here, and it's going to be the full length, and it'll be a small pocket, even though that's not too bad, just to do a small pocket right there, and then some cut aparts. So I think I will. I actually do like that. So I'm going to go ahead and it'll give me some more room to cut out some of the other awesome cut aparts that come with the line. Or, oh, I did find it. Okay, that is the one that fits. I can go all the way across. Maybe I will go all the way across. Sorry about the indecisiveness. And that's one of the reasons I don't do a lot of decorating on camera. We'd be here for 2 years. I have sometimes absolutely no idea what it is I'm going to do. Now for this one, I am going to use my 1/8 of an inch score tape. But I am also going to use a little bit of glue. Now, I saw this trick, and I don't remember who I've got to get better. And as many of you can attest to watching my videos, I don't do this on purpose. I need to start writing their names down. But she uses the score tape and then just uses a tiny bit. Either you can use glue, or you can actually use glossy accents. I'm going to use some of my glue. And just along the edge here, whoops, not that high up, of your score tape. Okay, she also just adds a thin layer. Because as we know, glue will harden, and sometimes it will give away, and you don't want a lot of glue anyway, because it tends to wrinkle paper. And then we just put it down. And I swear anything that touches me tonight is going to pick up a dog hair. So it's a good thing this is for a family member. My mother actually, and she spoils the dogs like they're her children, so she won't mind. Now inside of there, because in your 8x8, if you any kind of 8x8 with G45, you have the little tiny tags, and it fits perfect when you do tags like that. But we still have our score tape there, so we know that it's going to hold down. And then we've got the glue, so our tags, oh, the whole idea with the glue, sorry, is to keep your tag from getting caught. And so it's actually not for the extra holding power, it's so that your tags do not get caught down inside of your pockets when you use score tape. And then we're just going to put this at the bottom. I don't go back and do the flowers or the lace until after I put it into the book. And I will do most of my tags when I put it back into, when I get my pages into the book. So there is the beginning of our album. And then when we do keep moving along, then I will cut tags. They're not going to be that wide. And the tags will be what hold our flaps, holds this flap down. So now on the back side, because now we've got January, so I'm going to move on to February, and I've already pre-cut. Again, I just went 1/8 of an inch smaller than the 5x7. And remember, we made those awesome pull-out tags. So we'll be decorating that. And I will do one more page, March and April, to show you sort of what I'm doing. And of course, we each have our own style. So then I'll go ahead and finish mine. And when I come back, we'll be putting our pages into our book. So we get our matting down. Here's the little, here's our mat. Now for this, I usually only do one side, but because it's going to be, you can pull it out. I am doing, let's see, I'm doing that, and I'm doing all of, yeah, it's going to be plain back here because I have some flowers. So I've cut all my papers. I've gone ahead and inked them. And this is one of the cut aparts from the 12x12. It's actually from the calendar sheet. And I used the vintage photo for inking my corners because of course it goes so well with this graphic 45 line. And actually this album, once you get it built, and putting up with all my boo-boos while we built it, it comes together really fast. And I'll show you what I'll do with the covers when I come back and we get those done, because we'll have to cut more of the pieces for it. I like treating my front and back pages like, or covers like they are, the inside of them just like they're a page. Now for this one, I'm just going to put it basically in the middle. And I did go ahead with the corners, and I used the same one I used on the corners, my crocodile for the tag itself. Make sure you have no score tape sticking out. Push on those corners. And I'm actually using the dots down here at the bottom to line up. Now inside, I'm going with the brown, and it is it's a red. Now for the back. Now here though, I'm going to cut from the 6x6, so I'm going to want another one of the plain backs, and I do need the brown because you'll notice on the blue one it does have more of it's a lighter color, and I want to stick with the darker. So I'm going to make the 4x5 mat. So I will have a photo mat that goes there. And I have so many pieces. How on earth did I just misplace one of them? Okay. Well, we'll just keep going. It'll show up. It's kind of like my score tape. I misplace it quite often. I don't know how I can be using something and totally lose it. And I hope I'm not the only one. Now I'm going to go ahead. I don't really want a lot of ink on my photo mats, so I'm just going to kind of dry ink it without, you know, getting my dauber back into my ink. Just gives it a nice finish. And for the photo mats, this is the place where I would use stickers to accent and decorate, because you want more of a flat embellishment. Unless you're going to use a magnet for your closure. And if you want to do that, then you're fine. You can also add, oh, tons of different closures. So I'm going to use my dots here to line up my photo mat. So this will hold a 3x5 picture, just, and you'll, you know, crop down. That's really weird that I lost that. Now for this back, I do have a little decorated, one of the elements that go with the line, with the February. I'll get that out in just a second. Now this is what's going to go inside of your page. So you don't want any bulky embellishments. And so I just chose from the 8x8 a piece of the cutout. And actually it needs to probably be down. I was going to use it as a band, but I just am afraid it will catch on the inside when you're sliding it in and out. So I'll put that down and work on finding that inner piece. So this, because one side will go on the hinge, this will fit just like that. And of course I'll be adding embellishments and some flowers and different things. Now you could even take these and use them to hold your flap down, because it does still match. It's going to drive me crazy what I did with that paper. But see, because we do need to get it back down inside. Now, again, like I mentioned, it's up to you if you want to use any type of closure. And you can actually put ribbon, a piece here, and bring it up and tie it if you want, if you don't want to use your magnets. And I'm actually going to try and do this whole album without magnets. And I think it's going to lay nice, actually, because it has quite a bit of weight on it. So, well, let's just move to our next page and hope that that shows up. So our next one is March. And what I'm going to do is just sort of lay it out. So it's basically the same thing. You just want to cut your piece to fit down in your pocket. Have the purple. And again, if you like this calendar line, I have plenty in stock. And I was probably one of the first retailers to get this. Now I have this decorative piece that will come across. And I might go ahead and just put a little piece of score tape here at the bottom so a tag can go in, but nothing major. Or I'll probably use a cut apart and then we can tuck it back behind. So that will be that. And for the back piece, and of course when this is all done, I'll go through it step by step. So if you're wanting to duplicate it, is our April. Isn't that pretty? Now a little bit different though is the, I'm just going to have this little postcard that something can slip behind, and then the back will be green. So we'll get that all finished. I'll get my pages matted, and then when I come back, we'll start putting them into the book. I'm back. So I've got all my pages, they are matted. And what I did is I did the January and Feb, well, we did these together. So I went on with March and April and May. Just love this paper, and I decided to leave that one as just a small pocket for small tags. In June, July, and August. No, that was August. Here's September, and oh, I love October. So I've got to show you this before. I love the greens. This is my favorite paper when G45 does their October, because they always use the purple and the greens and the orange. I love them together. So now what I'm going to do for my album, and we're going to have to do a little work before we put our pages in, and of course my pages will become decorated after. So we want to do this last page like a cover and the front page like a cover. Well, what I'm doing is, because this is a gift for my mother for Christmas, I will put December here, since when I give it to her, it will still be December. And then this will be November back here. But I do want it to look like our November, I mean like the rest of our pages. But because we have a different size here, we're going to need to cut our papers a little different. So I just need to move all of my pieces here I was working on. Sorry about that. So what I want to do, basically I'm just going to get a scrap. And I'm going to kind of judge it here. I'm just going to lay it down before we cut it. So you want to do this to your back, the back cover, not this piece here or here. We're just going to do this back piece like it is the cover. And then I'm going to want probably, and I'm just kind of digging through with the scraps here, a 2-inch piece. That will be perfect, because I want my pocket here. So that's about the size that I want. And I'm going to cut this. Get over here so I can get a measurement. I'm going to cut this 3 3/4. Actually, I'm going to go ahead with 4. I'll trim it after. So I'm going to do 4. And because our cover is bigger than our page, I really got, I need a new one, by 7 1/2. So 4 by 7 1/2. And I'm just going to do a little checking here. Let's go ahead and score this at 1/2. Then we'll decide if we want to cut the bottom. Oh, sorry about that. We'll decide if we want to cut the bottom off a little bit more. One thing that I decided from now on in the videos, when I'm doing pages with pockets, I'm wrapping the pockets. I'm not putting them down first. I had a little bit of trouble there for a bit. So there's, see, we want to make this look exactly like our other pages, so it looks like a page. So I must have lost my piece for the pocket here. I did, but actually it's okay. I don't think I want that. Oh yeah, I can use it still. And it looks like I'm going to go ahead and take that 1/4 inch off. So I'm going to cut it down to 3 3/4 after all. I still want room for tags to be in this pocket to hold this down. So let's go ahead and do our corners. And I'm going to cut my pocket at 8 1/2. Now this particular scrap that I picked up, and I just went through the scraps from when we cut our album, is about 2 1/4. So I wouldn't go smaller than 2. You're going to want at least a 2-inch by 8 1/2 inch piece. Need my other bone folder for scoring. It's longer. Remember? Oh. And I was playing around with ink. So I'm going to go ahead and take just a hair off. There we go. Just took that off where I left my ink open all night, and I had to re-wet it. And I used some of the paper to wipe off my sponge. So just double check and see if that's crooked. Nope. Okay, and like I said, I am not putting my pocket down first. I'm going to wrap it, and I'll show you. Many of you probably already know how to wrap your pockets on your decorator paper, so you won't need that little instruction. But if you haven't, then this will be a good instruction for you. Now what I'm doing is I'm just folding everything up, and I'm checking my length and height of the pocket. So I want to make sure it's not going to go into the folds. And then I want to make sure I'm going to have that spot here for the tags to hold this shut. And it looks great. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the score tape down on my pocket. And I'm going to use the 3/8. And I'll go ahead and cut my pocket and just ready it. But I am going to then cut my designer paper right after I get my other flap down. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that aside, and I'll get this piece ready. We'll put the score tape right across the top. Okay, score tape across the top. And I'll go ahead and miter the corners just like we did the rest of the normal pages. Now on this, I'm just going to remove that corner score tape. And what I'm doing is I want to make sure I'm matching it to where my inside paper, when we lined it, is, so that it's not too close to the top. It's about a 1/16 of an inch. So I have that down. So now our inside is going to be 5.5 by 7.5. So let me grab, and I'm just loving this new paper. So I'm going to grab my November. And I've been, like I said, working with both the 8.5. I mean, 8 by 8 and 12 by 12. So I'm going to go ahead with this one. I just love it. And I'm going to cut it down to the size that I need. So I want to make sure I get this right. Sorry, I have to be off camera where my cutter is. So it's 7.5 for the cover. I'm going to take just a hair off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm taking my pocket. Like I said, I've been having some issues with tags hitting the bottom. So I'm going to wrap my pockets from now on onto the designer paper. Make sure everything looks good. And that way it's down, it covers. These are going to be totally down, so my tags will not get caught up on my book. I've always liked to save paper, and actually you can make it shorter, but then you might have still some issues. And really I only throw away that little piece. So I'm just going to start wrapping them. And it's great. One thing I did forget But we can still do it even with it inside the pocket. So there's that, and we'll go ahead and put our score tape on the back. One of these days I'll also learn how to fast forward through this boring part here. But because this is going on my back cover, I am just going to put an extra piece here in the middle. Only because you usually expect your back covers, front covers to get a little more action, actually. Push those down out of the way a little bit. I'm just trying to line it up, there we go, with my, again, inside paper. Okay, so now I have my pocket for that side, and I'll go ahead and decorate it with the rest of the November paper. And then I will probably just choose some neutrals. Now, the one thing about this paper is it has a lot of just neutrals that I can use on the back of each design. So I'll probably use something like that that's not really month related. Now, over here I want to have my my December, because this is the month. But what I'm going to do is I want a pocket. I don't want it to be identical to this, even though you could. So I'm just going to find out about where I want it, and it looks like a 7-inch piece. And I'm going to cut it down to 5 for this pocket. No, I take that back. Cut it 7 by 6. And then I'm going to show you why. What we're going to do is we're going to cut. And I still want that over because I'm going to be, we're going to take 7 by 6 into your cutter. And really, you can cut this any way you want. What I do, trying to get in camera, I'm putting, this is the 7-inch way. I'm putting this point down here at the number 2. So if you just bring your paper, let me bring this down. So lay it there just like you were going to cut it. Then just rotate this to the number 2. And that's what it's going to look like when you cut it off. So we still need to go ahead and make it so it will fit here. And it's going to look long. I'm going to show you. We need to make sure. Okay, we're going to score here. I'm going to score this a little different. I'm going to score it at 3/4, 1/2, 3/4, and 1/2. And the reason for this is I want some extra room in my pocket. I don't want it to be a flat pocket. I want it to be more of a box pocket. So as you can see, it's going to have a gusset there, which is going to be nice because you'll be able to put a lot more in there. Now, you'll also want to consider maybe matting this before you put it down. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. The reason being, this is a funny shape. And we're going to, first of all, we're going to have to do some cutting, of course. You can do this before or after. I'm going to bring this up close because you see you have the connecting line. You're still going to start here, go up to that corner, and all across them all. Just like that. Just normal, so that it will come around, because we're going to also wrap this on our paper. And we may have to get a little bit closer. Look. We are going to have to get just a little bit closer. And you may have to play with it a little bit till, there we go, you get it so it comes together. And it's still a little off just right there. So I'm just going to take this more straight across. Like I said, it's kind of a play with thing when you're doing those kind of corners. Now I'm going to lay it down and make sure it's going to fit. And it does. So totally up to you. You can go ahead and mat it first, which is probably a really good idea. And I'm going to mat it with the December. Now how I do it, everybody's different. So I'm just folding it back, completely back, so that I can lay it flat. And I'm going to go ahead and just draw this out. And then I will just take my cutter and I'm going to cut off those lines. And you'll probably still have to do a little bit of trimming here and there maybe, or wow, maybe not. Very good. So that is how I have found is the easiest way when you're matting a funny, and I'm going to bring this back up, when you're matting a funny shaped pocket, because it's a little bit harder once it's down. Well, it is for me. I shouldn't talk for everybody. But I'm going to go ahead and just get this one out of the way. It makes it so much nicer. Oops. And then again, I need to cut also the inside piece so I can wrap the pocket around it. Now for the inside, and as you can see, this is hanging over, but I'm not going to worry too much about it because it's going to go behind my piece of paper. Now right here in that 1/2 inch gusset on the inside, you'll want to add your score tape and then just trim. Now I need to cut my piece here, and it's 5.5 by 7.5, so I'm just going to grab my paper and cut the piece to fit. Make sure it's all good, and this time I'll get it all inked before we put our pocket on. Okay, move it out of the way. And I sit back down. Okay. Oh, and it's up to you. Let's see, you might want to put, you'll just cut barely a little bit of a strip here. And actually, let's go ahead and do that, because it will show a little bit, especially if you're making your album somewhat, you know, for a gift. So let me cut. So that'll work. Now for this, I do need to use my smaller cutter, and I do know that that's 1/4 inch. So it's not going to be a very big piece at all, but it's just enough to give it that finished look. So I'll cut another one. I'm not even going to bother to ink this. And I'm just going to, even though it's longer, because I can just cut that off. And for this one, let me find my 1/8 of an inch score tape, and it's over here actually stuck on everything. There we go. Okay, now, so this is a use that is great for your 1/4 inch score tape. And I'll just cut it right off there. Sure that that's going to fit. Whoops. I guess I should have checked the length first. So I'm just going to cut a little piece off. Recut that really quick. These little pieces are sometimes hard to grab. I guess I better start this way. No, better start this way. And I'll just cut him off. Okay, now we can go ahead and put our pocket on, and it will be finished and it'll look nice and it'll hold tons. And I screwed up. Sorry guys. I hope you didn't do what I just did, and you're going to probably yell and scream that I made you waste score tape. I'm so sorry. Yep, I did. I don't know what I was thinking. So let me go ahead and remove this. And this is how, folks, I get my score tape off. And you can buy liquids. I mean, there's other things that will work. And it just depends on your paper. I can do this on the Cartabella paper. I can't do it on some of the other brands. And I have to apologize. I'm having one of those not thinking nights. We really don't have to worry about trying to wrap our paper because it will fit down nicely. I'm having one of those evenings. Sorry. So we'll just go ahead and remove our score tape. Bring our corners together. And I'm sure there is an easier way to do this. But if you follow my videos, you know me. There we go. And I'll just take my bone folder on the inside. And there you have a nice finished box pocket that will hold a lot of stuff, and then your paper will fit right down inside, just like that. And then of course there'll be more decorations to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this, and then we are going to add our pages to this album. so that you should be able to just go back now and do all your decorating, all the fun work. And if you've already matted your pages, you're going to see how quick this album comes together. And if you have never worked with the Cartabella cardstock and you've noticed I'm able to position my paper even with score tape on it, it's because of the finish. It's just beautiful. It's definitely high quality paper. But once it's down, it is down. You have, but it does give you a little more freedom to work it. And here in just a couple of weeks, they're going to have tons more colors. So you're going to be able to make your mini albums blue, red, green, purple. We don't have to be stuck with just craft white, black. Actually, they'll have black. And then the linen. So it's going to be really nice. Now, just for putting my pages in, I'm going to find, let's see, something here that will work, just a scrap piece or two. I just want that pocket to be held down so it's not in my way. So I'm going to start with my last page, which is this one, and actually just, you might want to take your tag out. It'll be a little bit easier to work. Once again, I always just try my pages. Okay, and I like to make sure that they are going to be a perfect fit. Remove that score tape. Now I'm going to put my page on, but I'm going to also hold it. I'm not going to really push down yet because I want to check everything. I want to check this flap that it's not going to hit. And that's where I mentioned you're going to want that score tape up just a little bit higher when you're doing flaps. And I'm going to lay it right down. Do you notice how your page is going to lay flat? That's because we're using that 3/8 of an inch gusset. Okay, now we can go ahead and get everything down. Push it over this way. Now you have a page that's going to lay down. A lot of, if you've had trouble with them standing up, it's this gusset. Or if you've had a problem where they're floppy, the 1/2 inch gusset will do that sometimes. So 3/8 of an inch just seems perfect for me. Okay, and actually I'm going to put my tag right back in there. Love how it fits. And we're going to move on to the next page. Now with this, make sure your hinge is standing pretty much straight. Even though we've done our hinge so it fits perfectly on the page, you still want to make sure you're lined up with this page pretty much. See how it's laying down? Now just push it down. And then because I put my score tape up higher, you're going to notice probably almost a 1/4 of an inch gap between the top. And the reason I need that is for this, I don't want it to get caught up here and get my corners bent. If you've ever had that happen, that's why. Don't put your score tape down low. Put it up higher here. And I'm just going to throw this baby back in. Get your hinge back up. And back in, when I started making mini albums was about the time, let's see, Laura Dennison started, I believe, or not, well, she was fairly new. And that's basically a lot of the techniques that I early on learned. But then I can't get mine to go on there, and lining up my pages. But then the rest of this was pretty much just trial and error. So you're going to also have your own trial and errors. Again, I need to, it's being stubborn, I need to stop talking. There we go for just a moment. Okay, now I'm line up top to bottom, make sure everybody's okay here. I'm going to push down. You know how you make that album for a gift and then you want to keep it? I'll have to make another one of these. I just love this new paper. Sorry to go on about it. It's so bright and pretty. Okay, lay it down. Over. Now see, you should be able to flip your page over and it won't stick straight up. I mean, it's going to be up a little bit, but it won't be standing straight up. Sorry, I know that's pretty close. Didn't mean to do that. But see how nicely your pages are cascading and laying down? That's the effect that you want. Let me grab my page. Oh, make sure you're not putting it in backwards like I almost did. Okay. Line them up. My photo mat back in, and there you have your album, and I'll be making a little booklet to go inside there for December. But can you see all the, you'll be able to get lots in there. Let's see what it's like when it's closed. Look how nice that looks. Now you'll want to go through then for your pockets here, and it's all personal choice and depending on the paper. You're going to have, you might have cutouts, and I have a lot of them in different sizes from this line. So I will be cutting out the, especially the month, and I'm going to actually take the calendar month, and it's just going to go inside of here. And I'm going to print out some small, the little 2x3 calendars you can find online, and I'll put that in here too. So you can go through, make your tags any size that you want. You do want them, you know, to hold your mat down. And then you'll also probably want to cut out some, you know, tags that look like actual, you know, tags. And I'm just trying to find, maybe not, you can do a long skinny one. It can even, you know, stick out a little bit. That's a little far, but you can have it at an angle. So you just want it to hold that down. And then as you can see with your photo mat, it should lay nice after you've matted it, because the heaviness of the front and back, that's why we matted the front and back of these. And as you add more in the front, it'll push that weight down. And then you'll be able to take that right out. And your recipient can use it, you know, anywhere they want. They can take it out, stick it in their purse, maybe if they had a new baby that month to show off and they want to be able to carry that around. And then, oh, and I did things like this. So make your tags so that you can go ahead and slip in more pictures, and you can just do all kinds of fun things. So I kind of mixed it up a little bit, and I'll be doing that throughout the book. So I'll just add a couple of more different ones on these covers of our tags. A lot of room for pictures. And then on your back, once again, just make your tags to go in. And then you'll be able to decorate and How quick was that? I mean, this video took me 2 days, and that's as far as I got. So if you need something quick for Christmas, you'll be able to pop that together really fast. And don't forget, if you have any comments or need any help, just leave me a message down at the bottom, and I answer my messages all the time. Or you can find me on Facebook at Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, or Country Craft Creations in Hooper. That's the store page, and you can leave me a message. And you can leave me a message also on the store page, countrycraftcreations.com. And I'd love to help you. So if there's any issues, give me a holler. And I hope you enjoyed this quick, fast little mini. And if you need to look back, it was the one I did with Precious Memories. And when I get this all finished, I'll do my finished video. But I wanted to get this up for you. So Merry Christmas. And I had a lot of fun making this with you. Bye-bye.